and welcome to the first episode of Bath County Chronicles, Wandering Through the County. I'm Holly.
And I'm Rob.
And we are in the Bath County Museum.
Bath County History Museum.
Yes.
Right here on Main Street in Owensville.
Yes.
It's at the old courthouse, the second floor.
In the old courtroom.
In the old courtroom, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're the tallest building in town, so you can't miss us.
One with a big clock on top of it for everybody who's still wondering where we're at.
Yes.
So we're going to show you some exhibits in here that we talked about last time in our podcast. We've got the early cultures.
Early cultures. We've got the
Olympia Springs.
Olympian Springs we talked about. We talked about the mineral licks
Yes,
and everything.
yes.
But first off, I'm going to just take a second here and talk about the feedback that we've got from everybody
Yes,
on
yes,
Bath County
thank you.
Chronicles for our first episode.
Yes.
It's pretty awesome. You guys are awesome out
You
there.
are. Thank you so much. And remember, you can get a hold of us through either my email, which is hhoward@bathlibrary.com or .org, sorry, or
You can
wherever you find Rob.
Yeah, wherever you find me. I think we've actually got setting up a message thing
We have.
on the Bath County Chronicles.
We do.
You can send us a direct message on the Bath County Chronicles
that's
Facebook
probably
page.
the best way to do it.
Yes.
That way we both can get the message for sure without something getting lost somewhere. So
Yep.
that's going to be the best way to do it. And we invite you to come up to the museum. That's one reason we're here today.
Yes.
We want to highlight it and show you guys. This
Some of the
is
things.
awesome. I mean, there's so much here, and we're just going to show you a little piece of it. So if you
We're
want to
gonna
see the
tease you
whole
just a
thing,
bit, yeah.
exactly, a little bit, just a little bit.
Little teasers
Yeah.
there.
So we'll get started. Some of the things we talked about. What did we talk about? We talked about.
Talking about some of the early settlers
We
that
did.
came in.
We-
And we went as far back as talking about the earliest people here from 12 to 15,000 years ago, the Adena and the Woodland cultures.
Yes, yes.
We've got some artifacts here at the museum of some of those cultures. We have some stone tools, and we've got arrowheads, spearheads. We've got some pictures of like the natural lick areas, like knob licks.
We do.
And then we've got all sorts of little goodies in here.
Yeah. And right behind us, this is the display for the Adena and early woodland tribes. Discussion of the Adena.
Discussion of the
We
Adena
don't really have anything of theirs, or that we know of.
that we know of.
That we know of. But we do have some lovely arrowheads here. Who donated these to the library?
We
Or to the
have
library, to the museum?
To the museum, yes. These came from the Charles Hart farm on Hart
Okay.
Pike. Charles Hart had an Indian mound on his property, and these were recovered in that area. Well, over time, for agricultural purposes and different things, people didn't understand what they had.
Yeah.
So they were just finding these arrowheads, and they would just cultivate this stuff down, and it would just dwindle away into nothing. So it's farmland now.
Yeah.
So over the course of these years, he'd collected these arrowheads and these stone tools that are probably 12 to 15,000 years old. Some of the earliest natives
Yeah.
that inhabited our area now. Hart Pike is roughly about 3 or 4 miles southeast of Owensville off of Kentucky Highway 36. So give you a little geographical location there.
But before you start scavenging, you have to ask permission.
Exactly. And it's also illegal to scavenge
Yes.
native artifacts. There was a law passed recently that makes it a crime to scavenge these things and sell them and do different things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what you've got is what you've got.
what you've got is what you've got. And these, exactly.
That's it. But we thank him for
We thank
these.
him, yes.
These are nice, very nice. So come up and see them. We think you'll enjoy them because they're really in good shape.
Oh yeah, they're spearheads. They're the small arrow points. They're about this big, and we've got the spearheads. About this. So we're talking a little bit about the mastodon here that was found in Sharpsburg. We talked a little bit on the podcast about how the mastodon and the other Pliocene animals would roam through here and go to the licks and everything.
Yeah.
And that the natives would follow them, hunt them, and those were the big game sources for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a Mastodon remains were found in Sharpsburg in a place called Fleming's Pond. Fleming's Pond, if you know anything about where Sharpsburg is, you have the caution light, the four-way stop, and you have the little dip there that goes up to the Sharpsburg Community Center. It's to the left of that. It's all filled in now. It's not there anymore. Fleming's Pond isn't. Fleming's Pond got the name from Colonel John Fleming, who after the Battle of Blue Licks was wounded there. And on his way back with Daniel Boone and other settlers, he hid out there from the natives in the pond area. So that's how it got that name. Fast forward to the 1850s, the farm owner is cleaning out the pond, and he stumbles upon a jawbone with teeth.
So, was he cleaning out the pond to fill it in, or
No, I think it's a natural pond. I think he was
just cleaning
it out to
because
make it
was
deeper.
nasty?
Because,
Yeah,
you know,
deeper. Gotcha.
normally after a while it gets a lot of muck and stuff
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
So they were cleaning it out, and he found a jawbone with some teeth. Well, further digging, he found a thigh bone that was huge. Unfortunately, we don't have any of these specimens at the museum. It says that there were several teeth about 3 to 4 inches wide and 6 inches long. They found a tusk that was 8 feet long with a 7-inch base and a hip joint and a rib that was 6 inches wide. So this was a massive animal.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
massive
that was
animal.
huge.
So all of these bones, most all these bones, were sent to Center College in Danville. So something we may need to get a hold of and see if we
Somebody
can get some
there, yeah, so
examples
if you
here.
guys know who we could talk to,
That would be great.
yeah.
So that's
Give them a call.
that's the story of the mastodon and the prehistoric people who came through here.
All right, so our second display we want to highlight is my area, Olympian Springs.
Olympian Springs, and this ties into how the county got its name. If you remember from the podcast, we talked about Bath County being named for the mineral springs, the hot, not the hot springs, but the cold springs.
They don't exist.
They
You
don't
said
exist.
they didn't exist.
They don't exist. They don't exist. So Olympian Springs, we've got a display here that shows the resort, and it talks a little bit about the history of the area. Shown 1796, William Ramsey built the first boarding house and cottage.
cottages and for people to come and stay. It's also known as the Mudlick Springs, according to this. So we want to thank the people that worked on this. There were several. Everybody
Yeah.
came in and did their part on this.
A picture of the actual stagecoach that
Yes.
went from Mudlick Springs
Yes.
to Lexington as the first stagecoach in Kentucky.
Yes.
And we've got a picture of it up here. We're working on trying to get a schedule with it right now. Someone got a hold of me about, they have a ledger.
Actual schedule
Uh-huh.
with,
Have a ledger.
that
and
would
everything.
be nice.
So hopefully we'll have that for you soon.
And any of my Olympia people, if you have anything from your family, have any stories to tell, just send us a message through our Facebook page.
Shoot us a message, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll be happy to talk with you. Or if you have something to show us, we'd be happy to see it and to highlight it. Do we have anything else?
Well, I was going to
Here.
talk a little bit about the
Okay.
the area that has it is now.
Yeah.
The Olympian Springs, the resort's no longer there.
No.
Over time, it was lost. It was
Yeah.
torn down, disrepair, and everything. So, if you drive out there now, there's still a big house out there in the field that people live in.
Yes.
That was part of
Yeah.
one of the boarding houses.
Yeah, it
out
wasn't
there.
the original
Wasn't
house.
the
It was
original.
just one of the.
The original, and from what I've been told, the foundation stones were moved to make a foundation of a barn that's still standing.
Oh.
So the foundation stones
Well, I
are
didn't
still
know
there.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's up behind, kind of up the hollow a little bit behind the house.
Okay.
Is where it is. So.
Okay.
Also, the site, it was also the site of Bath County's only real Civil War battle, and we'll talk about that at another point.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a fascinating
coming up in a
history.
future episode, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So this is the knob licks here,
Yes.
and it's a mineral lick that's mainly a clay formation, and it's where animals would come and lick, as we talked about on the podcast.
Yeah. So, we're not going to say too much about it. It's not that big of a display if you want to see it. We got some great pictures. Beautiful pictures. There's black and whites, some colored ones where people are walking on them. We'd love to hear some of your stories about being a kid and going back there.
Yeah, this was a popular place.
it was,
People had
yeah.
picnics and family reunions
Yes.
back there. It is still there. It's still
Yes.
just as it was. It's on private property, however.
Yes.
Always
No
make sure that you
sneaking.
get proper permission. Exactly. It's kind of it's hidden and off the beaten path
Yes.
of it. So
But it's an interesting area.
very
Yeah,
interesting
so-
area. Very interesting area. But the animals would come here and
Mm-hmm.
they would lick the minerals and everything here to
Mm-hmm.
just kind of hang out.
Just kind of, yeah.
Hang out.
Just to live. They needed it.
Just to live.
They needed to live.
And then the natives, like I said, would come through
Yeah.
here, and even the settlers, the early
So
settlers.
basically, you're seeing their hunting ground.
Their
That's
hunting
what you're
ground.
seeing for sure. You know for sure this is where they were.
This is where it was.
Yeah.
All
So stop by and read all the good information that we have. We do have a lot. here. It's just we don't have as much. So if you have anything from there or know anything,
We'd love to hear from you.
let us know.